Here we go. All right, so with that in mind, square root of 72 should not be a thought. We've already done it a million times. Everybody should just automatically say that's what? 36 and 2. That is correct. And the square root of 36 is what? 6. So again, I'm saying I shouldn't have to break that down. You should already know that's 6 radical 2. For those of you guys who are trying to learn, all right? You've been struggling a little bit. 36 times 2. That's what you're breaking 72 down. Anybody have any questions? Now I'm going to go down and do the odds. And with the other class, I'll do the evens. All right. So you can check. All right. If you're having issues, you can go on YouTube and listen to the other explanations. All right. But please speak up. I'm going to move fast. All right. If you don't have a question, I'm just going to keep going. Please pay attention. All right. Number 3, 54 breaks down to 9 times 6, x 8x. Now, it would be nice if we highlighted the perfect squares. Those are the perfect squares. What's the square root of 9? So that comes out as a 3. However, there's a 4 already out there. So what do? 12. X to the 4th, radical 6x. Anybody have any issues with that? Anybody have any issues? All right, here we go. Number 5. Now, again, I'm trying to teach you for this. All right, it's better to find what's common. What's common with 21 and 14? 7. So I'm just going to show the work. This is 7 times 3. This is 7 times 2. So these two 7s can come out as a what? 7, and what's left behind? 6. Thank you. All right. Again, remember, it's not doing any good to write down my answers. 7 radical 6. Good for you. That's exactly right. And remember, that's what I'm trying to teach you. All right. You make your own observations. Learn to make that observation. The only thing I can do with the 3 and the 2 to make 6 is to multiply. All right. Here we go. Let's knock out number 7. All right. This is the annoying one, but if you're careful, it's not so bad. Does the middle term cancel in this case? Yes, the middle term cancels. This smiley face and this smiley face cancel, so we don't have to worry about the middle term. All right, we can say 7 times 7 is what? 49. Negative times a positive is a what? Negative. Now we have to do 3 times 3 is what? 9. Square root of 5 times square root of 5. There you have it. All right, what's 9 times 5? 49 minus 45 is what? After all that, it was 4. All right, if you understand that, honestly, you are in pretty good shape. All right, you're in pretty good shape. If you're looking at that going, I have no idea what the crazy guy's doing, then you have lots of problems. And you're not asking me any questions, some of you. Still, after 2 years, you just rather sit there. Come on now, you're going to high school. You got to be brave enough to ask your teacher a question. Anybody? Nobody? All right, that's good news for me. Let's go. Number 9. Does the middle term cancel out here? No. All right, so here we go. 6 times 1. 6. Smiley face number 1. What is that? 4 radical 3. Smiley face number 2. What's that? 6 radical 3. And now I have to multiply 4 radical 3 times radical 3. 4 times 3. Thank you very much. 4 times 3. And again, it's positive because they were both what? They were both positive. Anybody have any issue with that so far? All right, now, of course, everybody can look at the 4 times 3 and say, well, I know that's what? 12. So what's 6 plus 12? 18. What's 4 radical 3 plus 6 radical 3? Good job. Plus 10 radical 3. Anybody have any questions with that? Anybody? All right, here we go. Number 11. 3 squared. Square root of 7 squared. 9 times 7. All right, anybody have any issues with that? Now on the test tomorrow, let's say you go, oh my gosh, I'm not real sure about this one. You can type that on the calculator. Parentheses, 3 radical 7, close parentheses, squared, and it'll tell you what's the answer. 63. All right, any question? All right, let's continue. Uh-oh, this one was the hard one. Who remembers? Yes, that's correct. You multiply by what's referred to as the conjugate. Thank you very much. It's 2 plus radical 6. 2 plus radical 6. All right. Now the numerator, distribute that 4, and what do we get? Come on. No. 8 plus 4 radical 6. Remember, you're multiplying. You're multiplying. Now, what happens to the middle term when you multiply the denominator? Cancels out. That is correct. So what's 2 times 2? 4. Is it plus or minus? Which one? Which one again? Minus, because a negative times a positive, right, is a negative. And square root of 6 times square root of 6 is what? Square root of 6 times square root of 6 today is what? 6. Come on. 6. All right, good for you. Come on. Are you doing 4 times 2? Then you have to do 4 times that. What's 4 minus 6? All right. So we're going to put 8 plus 4 radical 6 over. Now, I need everyone's attention here. All right. For this, is that divisible by 2? Is that divisible by 2? Is that divisible by 2? So I can divide all 3 of those numbers by -2. So what's 8 divided by -2? What's 8 divided by -2? Negative. Man, this is embarrassing. I say, what's 8 divided by -2? I've got 3 or 4 different answers. -4. What's 4 divided by -2? -2. Do I divide the 6 by 2? No, you do not. So that's the best answer for number 13. All right, and whichever one you don't know, put a little star by it and go back and review. All right, here we go. Continue on. Okay, 125. What perfect square is in 125? 25 times 5. Thank you very much. Do I need to break down x to the 9th? Yes, it's an odd exponent. And then leave y to the 16th. Square root of 25. Square root of x to the 8th. Square root of y to the 16th. You are great. Simple as that. Anybody struggling with that? Anybody need me to slow down a little bit? Anybody have any questions? All right, good work. 17. What did I always tell you to do with fractions? Reduce or simplify. Always look to see if you can simplify. Can the 3/6 reduce to 1 over 2? What about 5 over 10? Does that reduce? Yes, that reduces to square root of 1 over the square root of 2. But of course, what's the square root of 1? 1, right? So 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 radical 2. Now, what do I have to do to the top and the bottom? Multiply just by radical 2. Radical 2, radical 2. Radical 2 plus 4. Radical 2 plus 4. Anybody got any questions? Yes, the square root. Only the one with the square root because it doesn't have addition or subtraction involved. Do you hear me? There's no addition or subtraction involved. Therefore, you don't have to change, you don't have to include the 2. Do you hear me? Good, go.
If the radical is three would it be?
Yes, multiplying. Good question, kiddo. That was good. Listen, how do you know that? Because this literally means this. 2 times radical 2 times radical 2. There is no addition there. You with me? So if you ever have trouble, think of that way. There's no sign. If there's no sign, it's multiplication. All right, here we go. 19. Come on now. Everybody should be able to look at that real quick and say that's obviously what? 20, correct? 20. Negative 2 squared is 4. Square root of 5 squared is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Everybody good on that? All right, let's check out 21. 864. Now, most people don't even know if that's a perfect square. So so you would take 864, just take square root of 864 on your calculator. Is it a perfect square, Colton? No, it's not. So it breaks down to what?
36 times 24. Or not,
Somebody said 6 times 144. I know, Colton, but we're looking for perfect squares. I know, but 144 is better because it's larger. All right, but I'm perfectly fine with you doing 36 and 24. You would just have to break down 24 again to 4 times 6. All right, so I appreciate whoever knew that 864 was 6 times 144. If you didn't see that, you're just going to divide it out. And you'll see 36 times 24 also. But then you have to break that down again. So what's square root of 144? 12. What's square root of x squared? What's square root of y squared? And what's left behind? 6y. Nice. All right, here we go. Now, solving this equation. What do I do to both sides for number 23? Square both sides. Thank you very much. So when I square both sides, I get x equals 25. Perfect. Anybody have any issues? Come on now, really concentrate. Yes. Radical? Yes. To undo a square root, you square. All right, here we go. What do I do to both sides first? Square, square, x minus 9 equals 4. Now what? Add 9, so x was what?
13.
X is 13. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, here we go. 25. What do I have to do first? Minus the 2, square root 3x plus 1 equals 2. Now what? Squaring both sides. 3x plus 1 equals what? 4. Now what? Subtract 1. Then what? X equals 1. Thank you. All right, that should be relatively easy. That should be relatively easy. You learned another inverse operation. All right, here we go. Let's knock out 26. What do I have to do to both sides? All right, now there's a problem here. Squaring both sides. Oh, that one's kind of silly. What's the square root of 4?
4.
All right, so x, that's all right. X minus 2 equals what? 16. Perfect. I need to fix that. So x is equal to what? 18. Anybody have any questions with that? All right, here we go. What do I do first? Minus 9. And what would that be? What would that be? 13 minus 9 today is 4. You're good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now what? Square. 2x minus 5 equals 2x equals, so x equals, yeah, that's how good you should be. Just working backwards. That's not that bad. Anybody have any issue with that? All right, here we go. 29. All right, this is the one that's hard. All right. What do I have to do to both sides? Square both sides. Square both sides. All right. Everybody good? So now we get x squared equals 6x minus 8. Now, this is a quadratic. So a quadratic has to be set equal to 0. So I move the 6x over and I move the negative 8 over. So that becomes x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Everybody good with that? All right, now the hard part. You got to remember how to factor now. Come on, factor x squared minus 6x plus 8. I'm not making the factoring hard. I'm just making it so it, keeps it into your brain. All right, what does that factor to? X and x, factors of 8 that are 6, 4 and 2. And I want negative 6, so they're both negative. That's what I'm hearing. Now you set them equal to 0. So we say x minus 4 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So x is either equal to what? 4 or 2. Now, is there an extraneous solution here? No, because the x can't be negative. Do we agree? Are any of these down here negative? No. Does everybody agree? Yes, ma'am. The time I want you to check is when the variable is equal to a radical and it can't be negative. The answer can't be negative on that. You hear me? Right. If the answer was -4, the -4 would be an extraneous solution. It wouldn't count. Do you agree with that? All right, here we go. Continue on. What do I need to do first for 29? Divide by 2. Square root 3x squared minus 2 equals what? 5. Now what? Squaring both sides. 3x squared minus 2 equals 25. Now what? Add 2. 3x squared equals 27. Now what? No. Now what? Divide by 3. X squared equals what?
9.
9. Now, how many solutions for a quadratic? 2. 2 solutions. So when I take the square root of x squared, you're going to say x is equal to plus or minus what? 3. This is another hard part right there. Remembering that it's plus or minus. Remembering that it's plus or minus. Now, are there any extraneous solutions here? And the answer is no. The reason why, listen, the reason there is no extraneous solution is because this is not a what? That's not a variable. Remember, the condition was that there was a variable, a square root next to a variable. That's when you would have an extraneous solution. Is everybody with me on this? There's no variable on the right side. Therefore, you don't have to worry about an extraneous solution. Luke, you with me? So it's plus or minus 3. Everybody's good, right? Greep, you good? All right, here we go. Let's knock out the next one. Is it possible to have an extraneous solution here? Yes. This is the time when you're going to get an extraneous solution. So what do I have to do to both sides?
Square.
Square. Notice I'm putting parentheses. So now I have 5x squared minus 36 equals what? 4x squared. Nice. Now I'm moving the 4x squared over. That gives me x squared. Moving the 36 over. X squared equals 36. Anybody have any problems moving that thing around? Now I take the square root. So my answer is x should be what?
6.
Plus or minus 6. That's what it should be. But in this case, there is a what over here? Variable. So can I have a -6? No, that's the extraneous solution. Your square root cannot be negative. So your only answer is x equals 6. Okay. Moving on, 32. All right, this is annoying also. Lots of good algebra here. What do I have to do to both sides, please? Squaring both sides. So the left side becomes x squared plus 1 equals. Now the right side, remember, it's 1 minus x times 1 minus x. You've got to multiply that out. So what's 1 times 1? 1. First smiley face, -x. Second smiley face, -x. And then -x times -x is positive x squared. Positive x squared. Everybody good with that? So now you recall what happens to the x squared? Cancels. What happens to the 1? Cancels. 0 equals -2x. Divide both sides by -2, so x equals 0. Everybody good with that? Yeah, I just simplified. You're 100% correct. Very good. Simplified. What? Come on. Because 1 minus x, I squared both sides. Do you see this right here? So 1 minus x squared means 1 minus x times 1 minus x. And then you multiplied it. You with me? All right, here we go. 32. What do I have to do to, wow. All right. Wow, I've been doing all of them. All right, that's okay. Square both sides here. So I have x squared plus 6x equals what? 16. Move the 16 over. X squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. Yes, ma'am. When it's a quadratic. When it's x squared. You with me? Now we got to do what here? It's a quadratic, so here's what she's asking. How do I know the factor? Because it's a quadratic. So how do I get x squared? X and x. Factors of 16 that make 6. 8 and 2. What kind of 8 and what kind of 2? Positive 8, -2. So x plus 8 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. So x equals -8. X equals 2. Is there an extraneous solution here? No. Tell me.
Oh. Number 29 was also a.
Quadratic. Do you know why? There's no x. It's just x squared, kiddo. I should have said that also. Do you see that, Caroline? Look right here. Is there an x in this problem, or is it just x squared? Look, there is no x. It's just x squared. You see what I'm saying now, right? In the other one, there's an x squared and an x, so it has to be factored. Okay? All right, here we go. Now what we did again yesterday, distance formula. All right? So the distance formula, square root. All right? Now remember, this is x2, this is y2, this is x1, this is y1. So x2, -1 minus 4 squared plus 11 minus -1, which is +1 squared. -5 squared plus 12 squared square root. 25 plus 144 Square root 169. What's the square root of 169? 13. The formula will be on the quiz tomorrow. All right, let's knock out 35. Distance equals square root. And again, I like to mark x1, y1, x2, y2. 6 minus 4 squared plus -3 plus 1 squared. What's 6 minus 4? 2 squared plus -2 squared. 4 plus 4 square root of 8. What does square root of 8 break down to?
2.
Yep. All right, anybody have any questions with that? All right, here we go. Let's knock out 37. One more. D equals square root. Again, x1, y1, x2, y2. -1 minus 9 squared plus 7 plus 3 squared. 100 plus 100. Everybody agree that's 200? And that's 2 times 100, so 10 radical 2. Everybody's good? All right, let's knock out Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 10 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. 100 plus 576 equals c squared. 676 equals c squared. C equals the square root of 676, which is, I believe, 26. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, here we go. 41. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 6 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. 36 plus 144 equals c squared. 180 equals c squared. C equals the square root of 180. Does remember what 180 broke down to? That's right, 36 and 5. Very good. What's the square root of 36? So 6 radical 5. All right, let's try the next one. Yeah, 2 more. Actually, all right, let's do this. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. 2 radical 3 squared plus 2 radical 3 squared equals c squared. Okay, what is 2 squared? Square root of 3 squared. Yes. What's 4 times 3? 24 equals c squared, so c equals the square root of 24. And what does that break down to? Come on, guys. So tell me the answer. 2 radical. Thank you. All right, here we go. 45. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus 10 squared equals 10 radical 3 squared. A squared, what's 10 squared? What's 10 squared? What's square root of 3 squared? Come on, guys, we got this. So a squared plus 100 equals 300. So a squared equals 200. A equals the square root and 200, 200. 2 times 100. What's the square root of 100? 10 radical 2. A equals. Is everybody with me? All right, now listen, I've decided, here's what I'm going to do for you. All right, listen, I think this is fair. There are 46 questions. There will be 23 questions on the quiz. Listen, it's in the same exact format. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down and in my Word document, I have square root of 72. That's going to be number 1, except it'll be like square root of 30 or square root of 40 or something. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do an odd and an even. Is everybody hearing me? Right? So I might do 1 and then 4 and then 5. You see what I'm saying, right? I'm just dividing it in what? I'm cutting it in half. And I will take one question, one odd and one even. All right? That's fair. 23 questions. All right? That should give you a good little start to the 9 weeks. All right? One easy, couple hard ones. That's all there is. All right? Anybody have any questions? All right, like I said, tonight I will do the evens with the other class. All right, and then you can watch the video if you're having any trouble at all. All right, please get started now with the evens while I post this before I forget.